There's a new wave of unrest this morning, and this time it is coming from state workers. CBS News correspondent Harry Smith is in Cairo this morning with the very latest. Harry, good morning, or rather, good afternoon where you are.
Yeah, Erica, I'll tell you, another very interesting day here in Cairo. Earlier this morning, the last of the pro-democracy demonstrators left the square and were removed from the square, so to speak, not long after new demonstrations started to break out. The demonstrators primarily were the police, the dreaded, feared police. As they chanted and as they marched, they demanded higher wages and simultaneously apologized for all the bad behavior they've been responsible for decades here. They also called for the ouster and for the execution of the interior minister, who they blamed for all of the bad things they've been doing all these many, many years. This was also a bad day to be a boss day here in Cairo. As people went back to work yesterday and today, lots of demonstrations at offices, people complaining about bad wages, but people also demonstrating and calling for the ouster of their bosses, who they blame for the corruption and the cronyism that have ruined the economy in a country like this. Now, as for the government itself, this is what's going on with the army. As you say, the army has thrown out the Constitution, they've disbanded Parliament, but one of the real problems is Mubarak's old cabinet is still in place. The pro-democracy folks say, we want them out, we want them replaced by basically a civilian-based group to help oversee the transition and get this country to free elections in what they hope is 6 months or so. As for Mubarak himself, there are new reports this morning that he is in ill health, maybe even in grave health, or that he could be in a coma. Now, folks here say, we've heard this before, we know that Mubarak's health is not good to begin with, and that this all may just be an excuse to give him an opportunity to leave the country, quote unquote, to seek medical attention. Now, over the weekend, we talked with one of the primary engineers of the democracy demonstrations that flooded the streets here in Cairo for 2.5 weeks. His name is Wael Gonin. He's a Google marketing executive who's based in the Middle East here. And we talked to him about the demonstrations. We talked to him about what this whole experience was like. And, oh, by the way, he was a guy that 3 days after the demonstration started was grabbed off the streets by Egyptian authorities and held for 12 straight days, handcuffed, blindfolded, and nonstop interrogated.
This momentum, whatever that just happened right now, need to be capitalized on now.
Did the Mubarak regime underestimate, or do you even think it understood, the power of the social networking?
They don't understand the social networking part, but they underestimate the power of the people. And, you know, at the end of the day, I want to say my final word is thanks to the stupid regime. You have done us the best thing ever. You have woke up 80 million Egyptians.
So if you're an autocrat or if you're a dictator and you've watched what happened in Egypt over the last several weeks,
you should freak out. You seriously should freak out.
The pro-democracy demonstrators have called for a brand new demonstration for this Friday, right behind us here in Tahrir Square. We'll see what happens. They want people to come back to the square to remind the army and to remind everybody else this is no fluke and there's a lot of work to be done. Erica?
Just the beginning. Harry Smith in Cairo this morning. Harry, thanks.